We met while we were in college, and we got married while we were still in college, and then we both started our careers. We were chemists, and we had always planned to have a family, but we just waited and expected that things would happen naturally. At that time, there was a lot on the news about stem cell research, and it was very difficult to hear about all these unborn children, and that they were just waiting.
In the process of in vitro fertilization, human embryos are frozen, cryopreserved, and couples don't always have the number of embryos transferred or the number of children that they actually bring to term, and so they have so-called leftover embryos or spare embryos.
We need to do something about this, and we weren't just going to complain about things, we were going to act on it. And so we started praying about embryo adoption. We knew that that was an option, and so we started praying about it, and we really felt that that's what God was leading us to. When we had decided to do the embryo adoption, we had to decide whether we were going to do a closed or an open adoption. And finally, after a lot of prayer, we decided we should just say that we're willing to do either one and allow God to provide the circumstances for the babies that we were meant to have. After we were matched with an open adoption, we had received 5 embryos from that adoption, and we were required to choose a backup embryo. This would be an anonymous donor, and just in case those ones didn't survive. And so in total, we had 6 embryos that were dedicated to us. Well, what happens is we had received blastocysts. That means that they were 5-day-old embryos. And on the morning of our transfer, they expected to thaw 2 to 3 embryos. Well, after that, they didn't all survive, and so they ended up thawing all 5 of our embryos from the open adoption. And of that, only 2 of them survived, and 1 of them didn't look very good. And so they decided that they needed to thaw our backup embryo. And so altogether, they transferred 3 embryos into me, and all 3 of them implanted. At 6 weeks, we lost 1 of the babies, and but our twins did survive. And interestingly enough, Wilson is from our open adoption, and Alyssa is from the anonymous donor. So they're not even genetically related to each other. They're not genetically related to us or their sister. Each one of us is unique.
We just prayed to God and just asked for His will to be done. And I believe that even though we couldn't see our family, He already knew who our family was. And that was, He saw Wilson, Alyssa, and Abigail. And His, He's Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. And He can see, the past, present, future. He could see that future. And even though we can't see it, we have to trust Him. And that's what we did. We prayed to Him, and He's blessed us tremendously.
Adoption in general is a heroic choice. We should praise those who adopt children, wherever those children come from. Embryo adoption is especially heroic because a woman takes to herself this very young human life, and she puts her body at risk in the entire process of pregnancy. This is especially heroic.